As I gear up for a busy fall season, I know firsthand that preparing a tasty, nutritious, and well-balanced meal 3 times a day can be oh so tricky and time-consuming. That's where Factor steps in as America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit and my personal go-to choice. The magic lies in their chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals arriving at your doorstep like a lifesaver. With Factor, there is no compromise. I'm saving precious time, savoring delicious meals, all while maintaining a healthy diet. So as we dive into fall, let's embrace the ease, flavor, and wellness that Factor brings to the table. Factor truly has you covered with all of your dietary needs. Do you need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best for the rest of summer? Try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. Head to factormeals.com/Dominique50 and use code Dominique50 to get 50% off. That's code Dominique50 at factormeals.com/Dominique50 to get 50% off. Hi there. As you know, I am all about clean eating and making sure that I fuel up with pure ingredients. It's not just about what's on my plate. My supplements matter too, especially omega-3 oils. That's where O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil from Purie comes in. It's my go-to because I know I'm nourishing myself with 2,000 milligrams of fresh omega-3 that supports my heart, my brain, and my eyes. Purie embodies purity, authenticity, and peace of mind for me. Their commitment to complete transparency shines through every product, including the remarkable O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil. It's more than just a supplement. It is a testament to their values. Don't just take my word. With Purie, you can find the actual data behind every batch, which makes Purie a supplement brand you can trust. Right now, Purie is offering my listeners 20% off their O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil and all of their great products. Just go to my special URL, Purie.com/over50 and use my promo code over50. This even applies to the already discounted subscriptions. You get almost a third off the price. Go to PUORI.com/over50. Don't wait. Use promo code over50 at Purie.com/over50.
Hey Over 50 listeners, Courtney here. I've recently discovered Lumi Whole Body Deodorant and it is life-changing. Created by an OBGYN, this pH-balanced deodorant is a game changer. Lumi's got us covered from pits to privates and beyond. I've given Lumi a shot myself, and I must say I'm genuinely amazed. It not only maintains my freshness for days, but it is also completely safe for application all over. So think underarms, thighs, even belly buttons. And on top of that, it's completely free of aluminum, baking soda, and parabens. And the scents? So good. Choose from options like clean tangerine, lavender sage, or even toasted coconut. Now, let's talk about the starter pack. This is perfect if you want to give Lumi a try. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes. And free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code over50 at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use code over50.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. My guest today is a conscious life coach and an NLP practitioner. Her name is Meg Ellis. She's a friend of mine from Houston. She specializes in unwiring negative thoughts and actually training your brain to expect good things in life. She's a firm believer in the law of attraction, as is yours truly. She's been coaching people for about 4 years now, and she hosts her own podcast called Create Your Fate. I'm so excited to have her here today because I really think she's going to help us all reframe and retrain our brains. I am so excited to have you with me today, Meg. You know, we became fast friends. We met on a women's midlife wellness retreat, and you were one of the co-hosts of the retreat, as was I, along with quite a few other women. And I think that we got so much from each other and from the audience that was there. And there was such a great connection and I guess an eye-opening and a mind-opening to what each person brought to the equation. So as I got to know you, I kept thinking, I want her on my podcast. You have this amazing energy, this amazing outlook on life. You have a formula that you have come up with. You have a program. So as we launch into this, give everybody just a little bit, the Reader's Digest version for those who know what that is, of who Meg Ellis is and how this came to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on your show. We definitely bonded at that retreat and just very similar energy. It was a magical experience, and I'm happy to carry out some of that magic on this podcast. And I want to thank you. I haven't heard Reader's Digest in a while. I haven't seen an actual physical copy of one.
I don't know if they still, I doubt they still make them, but somebody has them in a box in a garage somewhere.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Every copy. I'll try my best to abide by the Reader's Digest because if you know me, I can be a little long-winded, but I'm a conscious life coach. It's something that I've done for a couple years. I really started to open my mind, and I love that you said that, mind opening. My life changed when I decided to change my life, right? You have to do that. You have to be willing to go through the work. You have to be willing to change your mind and open up into new ways of trying things. And I discovered a lot of tools that helped me. I was just going through my own personal development journey and decided, hey, I think this would help a lot of other people too. So that's kind of what got me into the style of coaching that I do. I use the Enneagram, which is one of my favorite things.
We were fascinated by that, by the way.
It's because it is so spot on.
Yeah.
And if people don't know what that is, honestly, if Brene Brown talks about it, it's good enough for me.
It's legit.
Yeah. If it's good enough for Brene, it's good enough for me. It's a personality test that's rooted in personal development. It's rooted in why you do things. And I discovered it years ago. And it was the first thing that really made me feel exposed and out there. And it was spot on. And it helped my own personal development journey. And it just tells you why you do things, not necessarily, hey, you'd be great at this, or you should do this, or this is the way you communicate. Yes, it does encapsulate all of those things, but it tells you why you do things. And if you've never thought about why you do things.
That's an important question to ask, isn't it?
Yes. And so many people go about never asking that question. And it's a huge, important question to ask. And once you become conscious of your why, it's like, hey, what are you going to do to change it? So yeah, it's been a wild journey and really just focused on mindset. I'm an NLP practitioner.
Okay, NLP means?
I know it's a mouthful, so I'm going to say it. I'll say it slowly. Neuro-linguistic programming.
Meaning?
So essentially, I'll do the Reader's Digest version here.
Very good.
Your mind plays tricks on you all the time, and you can look at your words to kick back to what your thoughts are, so you can trick your mind back. So that's the Reader's Digest version. Your mind plays tricks on you all the time. I just help you trick it back.
A little mind trickery.
It's a mind trickery.
Okay, we'll dive into that because I want to learn how to trick the mind in just a minute. Sometimes there are catalysts in our life that create change, and you went through, if you're willing to share, some hardships and really, really strong difficulties in your life. Share with everybody, if you don't mind, what that is, because I really think people will just be able to relate to your story, Meg.
No, of course. Oh gosh, I'm like, where do I begin? I'm an open book.
You are.
But I'm happy to share probably the first time that I ever really felt awake in my life. Right? A lot of people go through life asleep, right? This is the way I should do things. This is the way I've always done things. And the first time I ever felt awake in my life and excited and truly fulfilled and like myself, I was 23 and I dated a guy named Joe, and he was in the military. And it was one of those, whoa, this is right. You just have those feelings where you instantly connect. And we had actually grown up together. He was my first kiss, actually.
Oh.
But we dated after college. He was in the military. And we had plans on me moving to California and getting married upon his return. And unfortunately, he went to Afghanistan and never returned. Yeah. So that was a really big hardship of where I started to look at life a little differently. My first, I never had to until then. And I definitely went through a period of, I didn't jump right into the personal development. It wasn't that type of transition. It was a lot of struggle. And that's not something that I like to, it took me a long time to accept even just the struggle.
Yeah.
And those negative feelings.
And you were so young.
So young. So young. I remember thinking at the age of 23, I'm closer to 40 now, but I remember thinking I was so old and so mature.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy.
But you were having to deal with a very big life event. I mean, that's such a trauma to lose somebody that you love.
Yes. And I grew up in a very, we'll say what would be classically categorized as a healthy childhood, and I had never really experienced any type of trauma before that. And very privileged lifestyle growing up, very privileged and loving childhood. And that was my first traumatic experience. And the way I even experienced the trauma, I was the one who got the call in the middle of the night from a friend. It's not supposed to go down like that.
No.
The voice, it's a friend that I knew, delivers the news in shock and then hangs up. So we didn't even know if it was true for about 24 hours. And then it's like, how do you tell his parents? It was just a very, grief, but then trauma on top of that. So I went into a period of downward spiral, we'll call that, a couple years of drinking, on top of antidepressants, which is not the greatest habit to get into. Definitely does not help. And ask me how many times I went to therapy.
How many?
0.
Interesting. Why? Thought you could do it on your own?
Thought I could do it on my own. And I, obviously, if you don't let anything out and if you don't acknowledge, you hold it in.
Sure.
And my Enneagram type is Enneagram 7, which typically this type does not, and I didn't know this at the time, we don't like to acknowledge the negative because if I ignore it, then all the positive's there and I can just focus on that. So I went on, living my happy little life, and I rebounded with a lot of relationships because I couldn't be alone. I could not be alone. I would cry if I were alone. And, let's just say I ended up marrying somebody while I was a very unhealed person. And I didn't even know what healing was at the time. I just know I didn't feel like myself, or I would present a certain way. And at some point in time, those negative feelings that I was keeping inside would build, and build. And then it would end up with a blowout argument with the man who I married, or me crying and depressed alone. Anytime if my husband would travel out of town for work or visiting a friend, that would be my time. Oh my gosh, I'm alone.
And it would trigger you into those feelings again of isolation.
Yes. And then I would just stay in that, I would be sad and depressed for a couple of days, but then I would get it back together, and never really process anything. Just, I didn't know what to do with it. How do you? Nobody teaches you how to do that stuff, and I did not seek help. And if I could change that, I definitely would.
That would be your first thing to recommend, I'm sure.
Yes. And that's a really interesting question. I don't know why I never did.
Yeah.
I just thought I could do it on my own. And being vulnerable was never really a strong suit of mine. And I think I was vulnerable. I opened my heart up to this person the first person I ever really loved. I thought I was going to share my entire life with this person. And then something terrible happened to me when I took the wall down.
Right.
So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to put this back up.
Even in your marriage, the wall was up.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, if I Again, 27 and married. I feel so old.
Yeah.
I know everything. I know all the answers.
Sure.
I had no idea that I was not emotionally available. Not one clue. It was all his fault. He wasn't emotionally available. And, he just would never understand all of my life experience that I had because he had never gone through anything that traumatic.
Yeah.
So it just really didn't set the grounds for a healthy marriage and relationship. And I was married for about 3 years, and it quickly dissipated, and not the healthiest way either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's understandable. And it's very important, in my opinion, to understand somebody's backstory, because it really is the build up and the lead up to oftentimes what they become. And you've become this wonderful life coach full of energy and purpose and passion. And you take that and you guide others to help them live an intent-driven, purposeful, passionate life. And so when we come back after this break, we're going to hear and understand how you were able to do that, because I don't want people to think that you're stuck in a trauma and that the trauma defines you. You have power within. So you're going to show and tell everybody how to harness that power and to do something great with their lives on the backside of this commercial break on Over 50 and Flourishing.
This episode of Over 50 and Flourishing is sponsored by Betterhelp. Fall is right around the corner, the leaves are changing, and this season in general can bring on a lot of change. Whatever your path, you may be facing personal challenges or embracing new adventures. Therapy can be a guiding light. This fall, let therapy be your compass as you navigate a new season. The impact of therapy is truly amazing, and I really can't stress that enough. Count me among those who have experienced its profound benefits. It's not solely about addressing significant traumas. Therapy can help us to elevate ourselves, acquire positive coping strategies, and even set up strong boundaries in our lives. It's a valuable tool for personal evolution and uncovering our true selves. If you're considering starting therapy, I highly recommend giving BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online, making it incredibly convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You don't need to worry about commuting or setting fixed appointments. You can access therapy from the comfort of your own home. The process is straightforward. Just fill out a brief questionnaire, and BetterHelp will match you with a licensed therapist who best suits your needs. And the best part is that if you feel the connection isn't quite right, you can switch therapists at any time at no additional charge. It's essential to find someone you resonate with, and BetterHelp really does understand that. So if you're ready to let therapy be your map, head over to betterhelp.com/over50 today. As a special offer for our listeners, you can get 10% off your first month. Take that step towards a brighter and more fulfilling future with BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/over50.
As I gear up for a busy fall season, I know firsthand that preparing a tasty, nutritious, and well-balanced meal 3 times a day can be oh so tricky and time-consuming. That's where Factor steps in as America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit and my personal go-to choice. The magic lies in their chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals arriving at your doorstep like a lifesaver. With Factor, there is no compromise. I'm saving precious time, savoring delicious meals, all while maintaining a healthy diet. So as we dive into fall, let's embrace the ease, flavor, and wellness that Factor brings to the table. Factor truly has you covered with all of your dietary needs. Do you need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best for the rest of summer? Try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. Are you too busy running around during the day to even think about lunch? Keep your energy up with Lunch to Go. These are effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls and salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're on the move. No microwave needed. They even have 45 plus snack add-ons, so you're covered on all bases. Head to factormeals.com/Dominique50 and use code Dominique50 to get 50% off. That's code Dominique50 at factormeals.com/Dominique50 to get 50% off. Welcome back to today's Over 50 and Flourishing. My guest is a friend. Her name is Meg Ellis. She's a local life coach here in the Houston area, and she is all about living your best life. She's about positive energy versus, let's say, a positive attitude. Reframe is a word that she uses a lot, and we'll talk more about that. We've just been digging a bit into her backstory. Everybody has a backstory. We all have a reason why we are where we are and why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. You experienced a lot of personal trauma at a very young age. You lost the love of your life, and I'm so sorry about that. Dealing with loss is very painful and very brutal, and you were honest in that. You said you tried to do it on your own and didn't get help, and then went into a marriage that wasn't working. At what point did you kind of figure out your belief system and then even realize that I can take this and I can make it a career and help other people with it?
Mm-hmm. Those are two great questions. I think I guess if you call it a breaking point, mm-hmm. Or that point where you realize, hey, something has to change. And if you desperately want something to change in your life, you have to be willing to make changes,
mm-hmm.
And I think I was just really tired of feeling like I was living somebody else's life.
Good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. It felt very inauthentic to myself. At the same time, I was thinking about getting a divorce, right? The whole sleeping upstairs for 6 months, mm-hmm. passing each other and, not having that relationship. I was also in the process of a total career change. I was a dental hygienist for mm-hmm. a really long time, and I had entered into fitness, which is kind of how it links into where I am today.
Sure.
But I was just miserable. I didn't like that job either, and I just felt there has got to be something more. Mm-hmm. I don't deserve to be stuck in a 9-to-5 that I absolutely hate. Because who loves cleaning people's teeth? Let's be honest. Be nice to your dental hygienist.
Yes.
But, I don't deserve to be unhappy forever. Mm-hmm. And I will say, very briefly did try some marital counseling towards the end, but I think I probably waited too long. It wasn't really helpful. I was already checked out. Again, I still hadn't really entered into my healing journey yet.
You probably hadn't even processed your loss.
No, yeah. Right. There was a lot of, my pile just keeps getting bigger and bigger at this point. And I really just one day, I kind of snapped. I really did. And I said, this is it. And I got divorced and I left my job within the same month. And I moved downtown, started this new job in full-time fitness, and which is kind of like coaching people, all the motivational talk of leading a spin class. And I loved that. Mm-hmm. And I finally felt, oh my gosh, I can breathe again.
And you have a voice.
And I have a voice. Let's see what it says.
Okay.
Because I didn't even know, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you're living somebody else's life or a life that is not designed for you, I knew there has got to be something more. My purpose is not to stay in a loveless marriage. My purpose is not to count down the days until Friday, to mm-hmm. count down the days or the hours until 5 p.m. And when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm counting my time away. That's not okay.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
So at what point did you say, all right, I have a voice and now I have a system? Mm-hmm. And what is that system?
I think when I finally started living on my own, and I hadn't been alone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had jumped around from relationship to relationship to relationship. And it was my first time really since, that traumatic death that I had really been by myself. And it wasn't until I stopped putting focus on other people and my relationships with other people mm-hmm. where I said, oh, I'm alone now. I had gotten to the point where it didn't scare me, mm-hmm. but I still didn't know who I was.
Right.
You know, I'm like, hey, I don't know, what do I like to do?
Let's have a relationship with me for a change.
Yes. And it's wild how much that is your turnaround point when you say, wow, I'm ready to have a relationship with myself. I'm not okay.
Right.
That was the moment where I started to, honestly, it was really fun because I liked myself, you know, and I didn't know that. And if I don't like myself, then how am I going to, and if I can't show up for myself, how can I show up for somebody else? If I don't understand myself, how am I going to expect somebody else to understand me? And I started kind of taking responsibility for my own life. My turning point was realizing that responsibility is not about blame. It's about taking ownership of your own life. If I have responsibility over my own life, over my decisions, over my choices, over my beliefs, then I can change them if I want to. I don't have to sit around and saying, you should have done this, you should have done this, you should have done this. It's all a defense mechanism, right? Because, if I'm not ready to see what's inside, all these things that are really mirrors showing me who I really am, I'm going to just treat them as triggers and say, no, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. And so it was when I said, I'm going to take responsibility for my life. I have accepted that I don't really want to live this life anymore. I want to see what I believe in and what makes me feel good and fulfilled and light up and what my purpose is. Because I've done the life of not living my purpose. And
it doesn't feel so good.
It doesn't feel good. No.
No.
It doesn't work either.
No, of course it doesn't, because you're going totally against what was put inside you. And we were all given a unique set of gifts, talents, patterns, traits. And I think it's so important to honor those. But first comes the identification of what those are. And oftentimes that comes in the quiet. Yes.
Oh, stillness was not my friend.
Yeah. It's hard.
It is hard. And it's so funny because, again, looking back, I was 30 and getting divorced, thinking, I'm so old. I know all the things.
You're in this old thing, from 20 to 30.
I know,
Everybody's
right?
laughing at this point.
Yes.
But when you're there, you think that time is marching on at such an accelerated pace.
Yes.
It's a weird sensation.
It is a weird sensation. And the timing was interesting because, everybody else, you're 27 years old.
They're getting married, they're having kids, and now all of a sudden you have this pressure, and I'm alone, and I'm just trying to figure myself out at this point.
Right. I was living by the shoulds.
Yeah.
And when you live by the shoulds, you live the life that you think you should live. And then you get there and you say, I don't think I actually like this.
Yeah.
I thought I should stay married for a long time. And I didn't want to be 30. Right now I'm looking like I'm kicking myself, but I didn't want to be 30 and divorced, and single again. And it was scary. And I think I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's just when you really spend time with yourself and stop distracting yourself from yourself, right? I went from this, if you could imagine like a little pendulum, this, depressed and sad and really invulnerable person to, well, now I'm happy, swing the pendulum. Now I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Well, little do you know that person is still invulnerable. You're just distracting yourself from the sadness. So I went into this period of doing all of the things. And it wasn't until I started to slowly peel back and say, okay, I have to be still. And I love that you use that word because there's so much power in stillness.
There is. We fear it, we dread it, but there is the greatest amount of discovery that comes in the quiet because you are forced to sit with yourself and with your thoughts and the discomfort of not being distracted. But that's when stuff gets really real.
Yes.
And it's important. And I'm sure as a life coach, that's probably one of the first things you tell people.
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny to see. I have a 90-day program, and one of the weeks it's called The Power of the Pause. And it is so funny because people they get a life coach for different reasons. It's not just people who, are stuck in a rut and don't know where to turn in life, or should I get a new job, or, whatever it is. It's people who are overly busy, who are distracting themselves from their own life, right? And so when part of the program is you have to sit with yourself, we work up to 15 minutes, but we literally start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes of sitting with yourself, no distraction, no music, no TV, no phone, no conversation, nobody around. And when you sit there with yourself for even 5 minutes, it is the one thing in my program everybody says, I couldn't do it. It was too hard. I didn't like it. And it's because we're trained to distract ourselves from who we really are. And you never get to know yourself. And I would say the number one thing that helped me really come into my life of where I feel purpose every single day. I love what I do every single day. I have autonomy over my energy, my time, what I do, who I spend my time with. And it comes from really understanding yourself. And I love that you use the word discovery.
Yeah, it is a discovery. And I think the beauty about it is, we talk so much on this podcast about reinvention in life, specifically in midlife, because there's so much change that takes place during this time of life. And I really, really like to remind women and reinvigorate them and just give them that seed that anything is possible at any time of your life, but you just have to have a plan. You have to have a plan and an understanding of what it's going to take to make those changes. So when people come to you for a life coach, and I love that it is a life coach, and I'm sure you get it in all forms, corporate people are looking for it, personally, what is the biggest reason that people come to you?
The biggest reason why people come to me is feeling something's off.
They're missing something.
They're missing something. And I have tried to find it in this, and this. And I had my last resort. I tried success, or maybe it was a relationship, or, a certain achievement that you checked off. I thought that this thing or this person would make me happy. And I'm still not happy, so I don't know what to do. I might not be walking around sad or feeling depressed or something like that every single day, but something just feels off.
Like a malaise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It's like something feels off. This feeling of, I know there's something more out there for me. I don't know what it is. And that's where a life coach can come in and help you discover yourself, because if there is something out there for you, and I guarantee you for anybody listening who does have that feeling of there's got to be something more,
there is.
There is.
Testimony.
Yes.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your process to help people discuss? Well, first of all, that's overcoming fear, number one,
Yes.
right? Because a lot of people are afraid to go through the discovery because it means potentially losing what they have for the unknown. So how do you guide people to this discovery of more?
So the first thing is that I use is the Enneagram. Well, I use the mindset. I have a mindset basis because it's all about your mind plays tricks on you. The part of your mind that wants to protect you, keep you safe, keep things the same is your ego. And people hear that word all the time and they think it's in this context of, oh, that person is really cocky. They have a really big ego.
Conflated sense of self.
Yes. And really it's kind of like that, but it's this part of you that is just trying to keep things the same to keep you safe. And that's just not who you are. That is a mask. So I use that personality test, the Enneagram, which I'm telling you, it is so spot on. I will give you the link. You can take your free test, but I know yours. You were an 8.
I'm an 8.
You're an 8.
I took it twice because I was like, I'm really an 8? Wow. Okay. I mean, I see it in some ways and others, but there are wings and you have to explain that and other things because I'm like, I'm not a hard ass like that.
You know what's funny is the only people who ever come back and say, I don't think this is my number is an 8.
Isn't that funny?
Yes. Well, the 8s is the challenger.
Yes.
Right. So it's this numerical system 1 through 9, and each number has
attributes.
Yes.
Character attributes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 7 is the enthusiast, which is why, we kind of walk around with rose-colored glasses. Everything is awesome. But really it's because you understand your motivators. I'm telling you, I discovered this Enneagram and I was like, oh my gosh, people have to know about this. Why don't people know about this? You're driven by your core fear or your core desire.
Right.
And my core desire is to feel fulfilled. And my core fear is to be trapped in pain. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
So you're either running to something or running from something. And really what happens is your personality is not who you are. It's a tool to discover what's underneath. So I say your personality is essentially a mask that you wear. And a lot of times people walk around not realizing I'm wearing a mask. Right. And this happens and I loved your podcast with Liz, the therapist a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Liz Seitz.
She had so many nuggets in there. So I definitely encourage all your listeners to go back and listen to that episode.
Oh, thank you.
It was awesome and so spot on because, a lot of these things happen when we're kids, right? So I'm a mindset coach, a life coach, but I work a lot with the mind, your ego, your super ego message that says, hey, you're good, you're okay, you have a lot of self-worth if, for an 8, you're in control.
Right.
Right. Or as a 7, I have a lot of self-worth. You're good if you're happy. Don't
be unhappy.
Yeah, don't be unhappy. You have to smile all the time.
Yeah.
I don't care if your fiance just died and you have no idea what you're doing with your life. You're going to put on a happy face and present to the world that way. Right? That's not who you are. That's a mask. Because who you are when you're young, we essentially accept everything as truth, right? We see everything around us as truth because we observe things from our parents and our surroundings and or whoever is in your life when you grow up. And as you're in your brain, the way your brain works, it's a sponge, right? We take on everything. And so as you get older, your brain changes and you get into a different brain wave where your brain moves differently and it looks around and says, okay, now I'm not taking everything as truth. I'm going to assign beliefs to certain things.
Right. We label things.
Yeah. Commonly, when you're young, girls wear pink, boys wear blue, right? We see it all the time. So then we think, oh, this must be truth. And so our beliefs become our thought patterns, which then become our habits. Oh, now I'm a girl, so I buy pink, right? Or I dye my hair pink,
Which looks great, by the way.
Thank you. You're welcome. It's a maintenance process, but I like it. Anyway, I should go against the system and dye it blue, right? Because blue is for girls too. But in this example, our thoughts and our beliefs become patterns and then they become habits. And then we get to an age where our brain doesn't really change that much anymore. Young adulthood, where your brain is not really a sponge. It's kind of like a hard rock. Right? We can cognitively think, we can deduce and critical thinking and all these things, but we can't really change our beliefs. It's kind of who we are. My personality, that's just
who I am.
I've always done
And you're
this.
saying that's not the case.
I'm saying that's not the case.
I like that. Okay, so we're going to explore how we can get past our own beliefs about ourselves and to reframe and redefine and create a new belief system if we want a new path forward right after this break. Hi there. As you know, I am all about clean eating and making sure that I fuel up with pure ingredients. It's not just about what's on my plate. My supplements matter too, especially omega-3 oils. That's where O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil from Purie comes in. It's my go-to because I know I'm nourishing myself with 2,000 milligrams of fresh omega-3 that supports my heart, my brain, and my eyes. Purie embodies purity, authenticity, and peace of mind for me. Their commitment to complete transparency shines through every product, including the remarkable O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil. It's more than just a supplement. It is a testament to their values. Every single batch undergoes rigorous testing by the Clean Label Project and IFOS, screening for more than 200 contaminants such as heavy metals, pesticides, glyphosate, dioxins, and bisphenols. Every Purie bottle boasts a QR code, allowing you to personally verify its quality. It's a level of trustworthiness that's genuinely rare, and it speaks volumes about their dedication. Unlike many other fish oil supplements out there, I have personally found that Purie's capsules are very easy to swallow. This small but significant detail makes incorporating them into my routine seamless and hassle-free. And here's the real game changer. I don't have to worry about those unpleasant fishy burps that can linger after taking a regular fish oil. Don't just take my word. With Purie, you can find the actual data behind every batch, which makes Purie a supplement brand you can trust. Right now, Purie is offering my listeners 20% off their O3 Ultra Pure Fish Oil and all of their great products. Just go to my special URL, Purie.com/over50 and use my promo code over50. This even applies to the already discounted subscriptions. You get almost a third off the price. Go to PUORI.com/over50. Don't wait. Use promo code over50 at Purie.com/over50.
Hey, over 50 listeners, Courtney here. If you didn't know, I was actually born and raised in Buffalo, New York. And I am so used to this time of the year being cooler weather, but it seems like in Houston, it's only getting hotter. The heat brings on so much, but especially body odor. I've recently discovered Lumi whole body deodorant, and it is life-changing. I promise you, regular deodorants just don't cut it in this Houston heat. That's where Lumi comes in. Created by an OBGYN, this pH-balanced deodorant is a game changer. Lumi's got us covered from pits to privates and beyond. I've given Lumi a shot myself, and I must say I'm genuinely amazed. It not only maintains my freshness for days, but it is also completely safe for application all over. So think underarms, thighs, even belly buttons. And the best part, it's backed by clinical evidence controlling odor effectively for a whopping 72 hours. Yes, you heard that right. So what's the magic behind this? Lumi thrives on mandelic acid, which means it stops odor before it even starts. No need for fragrance cover-ups. Lumi tackles it at the root cause. And on top of that, it's completely free of aluminum, baking soda, and parabens. And the scents? So good. Choose from options like clean tangerine, lavender sage, or even toasted coconut. Now, let's talk about the starter pack. This is perfect if you want to give Lumi a try. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes. And free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code over50 at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use code over50.
Welcome back. We are getting a good life coaching today with Meg Ellis, who's a friend. She is a life coach. She was talking about the Enneagram test before the break, how it's a great, would you call it a roadmap maybe, to understanding yourself better?
It's a great roadmap. It's the best tool to understand yourself is yourself.
Right.
Right. We overcomplicate it, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's a series of questions that you have to answer, and we'll provide a link so people can do the test and get the breakdown and then what everything means. It fascinated me. It was really, really intriguing.
And it's spot on, right?
It was spot on.
Even the parts that we don't necessarily like
were spot on too.
That's the thing, because you are not your personality,
right?
Who you are, your essence. It's not your ego. Your ego says, hey, this is the world that you should experience. You should do this, do this, do this. Be safe. We're going to keep you safe and small. Staying safe means you stay small.
You stay small. That's right.
And so a lot of people say, I'm ready to do big things, but I just feel so small. I know there's something more out there for me, because you are not meant to stay small. You're just not. Everybody has a purpose, but we hide behind this mask, and we call it our personality. Oh, I don't really do those things. I've always been this way. And a lot of people do not know they're walking around with a mask. So you have to have that consciousness step, right? I'm an NLP practitioner, which means it's all about the mindset. You have to be aware of what you're doing if you want to change. And if you're walking around feeling like you're a zombie, coasting through your own life, how are you going to change?
Right. So how do you change? I mean, you and I both very much believe in the law of attraction, right?
Oh, yes.
What you put out is what you get back. So does this start with a reframe of thinking? Is that where you tell people to start?
Yes. So when you use the Enneagram, you can kind of, if I know your beliefs form your thought patterns, which form your habits, which form your personality, then we can funnel it back down. What is this belief that's holding you back? Let's bring consciousness to it, because I have to know what's holding me back. And then most of the time, this is a self-limiting belief. It's a thought that is not going to support what I want. It actually is probably revolved around something I don't have, I'm not good enough, or something I don't want, right? So your internal energetic focal point is around something that you don't necessarily like. And so to bring in the law of attraction, which I love that you are a huge proponent for, it's life-changing, isn't it?
It is profound what it does.
Profound. And really, it's just that change of your mind, right? You have to change your mindset of, similar to when I was...
Even if you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it.
Especially when you don't feel it. Yes. And so, because I can walk around and say, oh, I'm a happy, positive person, especially Enneagram 7s out there. That's what we present to the world. I'm a positive person. No, you have a positive attitude. But I love to use this example. Let's say you're driving to work, you're on the highway, and you run into a bunch of traffic. What is your first thought? Oh, I'm going to be late. Okay, so you're telling me that your first thought is on something, one, that doesn't exist yet. Two, it's what you don't want.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to be late, and then this person's going to be mad, and I'm going to be late for this meeting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and your mind just goes, right? So you're focused on what you don't want. Automatically, you don't even have to actively think, oh, can I think of me being late? No, your mind just goes, because that's what we've been conditioned to do. But if you're not awake, if you're not conscious of that, then you are actually having a negative energetic focal point. And to speak of the law of attraction, energy flows where your attention goes.
Great saying.
I heard that. And I'm telling you, my life was changed. Oh boy, I think my energy is not where I would necessarily want it to be to create your best life ever.
Okay, so now you're stuck in that traffic. What should we be saying to ourselves?
Well, let's ask this. What could you say to yourself?
You're right. I shouldn't say the word should. What could? I don't like shoulds.
See, I mean, I catch myself all the time still. And that's the thing. It's not about being perfect. It's about catching yourself.
Sure.
That's consciousness.
Yes.
Consciousness is not about, I'm going to say everything perfectly. I have a list of words I never say. But when I do, I catch myself and I recant and I choose again. I'm going to choose the life that I want versus the one that automatically might slip out. And so what do you think you could say instead of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late?
Maybe I won't. Maybe this will clear up in a few minutes and I'll be there on time.
Right.
Maybe I can take advantage and place a call and say, I'm in an act, behind a wreck. I might be late, but I want to give you a heads up. So there's understanding and I'm being proactive about it.
Yeah. Those are all amazing solutions, right? Versus, oh, I'm stuck here. I'm going to be late. Right? So now you can actually, so the way your mind works is going back to the way I weave in Enneagram, consciousness, and your mindset. Your mind looks for reasons to support what it already believes. What happens if I don't like what I believe? What happens if I don't even know what I believe? if I've not identified a self-limiting belief, I'm looking for reasons to likely not like myself, my life, whatever it is.
Right.
And I don't even know I'm doing it.
Yes.
That's the hard part. We don't even know we're doing it. And it's really interesting to see, similar, I get the experience with people who wake up, you're like, oh my gosh, because I experienced that myself. And it's life-changing. So what you can do is, small action item is, how can you begin to shift your focus from what you don't want and what you don't have, I don't have time to get to work, to what you do want. Mm-hmm. I want to be on time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if I want to be on time, now my mind's going to start to look for reasons to support what I already believe. I believe I'm going to be on time. Okay. Well, look, this lane's moving quicker. Maybe I can get over there. Or
I'm going to leave the house 5 minutes earlier.
Mm-hmm, right. For next time.
Yes.
Or, I can at least make this call, right? But we get so clouded in this spiral of negativity. This is not working out for me. Things are against me. Everything's going, the spiral that we don't even think, well, I guess I could make a call while I'm in the car, or whatever it is. And so it's changing the direction. And a lot of times people are more concerned about speed. I just want to get there. I just want to get there. Really, are you going the right direction?
Right.
So,
do you think it's important? I do at least, to write lists and identify what it is that I want out of life,
yes,
what's important to me, and then what can I do to bring these things to life? How can I add fuel to this? These behavior changes.
Right.
Is that something that you're a proponent of?
Oh, hugely, because and everything's made of energy. Mm-hmm. Everything has energy. Whether you know it or not, you are a powerful manifester.
Yes.
And sometimes the same way we can manifest positive things into our lives, we
can manifest the bad stuff too.
Right.
We most often do.
Right. So that's the thing is that really I teach people just how to shift their energy into, okay, if you never think about the life that you want, well, I don't want to think about it. I might not get it. I don't want to
raise my hopes and never achieve it.
You don't want to get your hopes up.
Right.
So you're telling me I want to keep my hopes
low so I don't achieve?
Right.
Yeah.
Because like attracts like, law of attraction, right? Energy flows where your attention goes. So if my attention is on, well, I don't want to be disappointed, so let me just think I'm not going to get the job. Mm-hmm. Let me think I'm not going to find a romantic partner. Like, oh, there's no good men out there. There's no good women out there. Okay, well, that's where my attention's going, so that's where my energy is going to go too. Yeah. Versus, well, why wouldn't you want to get your hopes up?
Yeah.
Other than the fear of disappointment, why would you not want to get your hopes up?
Absolutely. I'm a proponent of praying big, bold prayers.
Yes,
because I believe in that. I believe in even thanking God for what's to come. Even though I don't see it, even though it's not here yet, I thank him for lining everything up for it to be there in my future.
Yes.
And I think that's been a huge part of just me building me up and enabling me to make shifts and transitions is that power of the belief in the greatness that you want for your life.
Right. Where believing, am I saying this right? Believing or seeing. Believing in a seed.
Yeah.
If you believe it,
if you believe it, you'll see it. Right. Yeah. Not the seeing comes first. No. The believing comes first.
Right. Exactly.
That's what faith is about.
1,000%. And so going back to our traffic, situation, right? Our made up situation,
right?
Shifting to gratitude is the number one way that you can shift from a negative energetic standpoint to a positive one.
Yeah.
So if I, if I run into my traffic, I can say, oh, well, I'm really glad, maybe it's because there's a little fender bender on the side of the road. Well, I'm really glad no one got hurt. Or, oh, I'm really glad I left 5 minutes early, or I'm really glad I don't have a meeting until 10, or whatever it is. But where can you shift to gratitude, even if it's the smallest, tiniest thing?
I love that.
Because if you think about it, let's just take, how do you feel on 1 to 10? I run into traffic. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. And you go through this spiral. I'm going to, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get fired. All the things, get yelled at, written up, blah, blah, blah. I feel like a 2 out of 10. And that's my energetic focal point. So that is my vibration that I'm really looking for things that are going to make me feel like a 2 or enhance that feeling of 2 situation versus, wow, okay, I'm really glad those people didn't get hurt. I'm really glad I have a friendly boss. Thankful that I left 5 minutes. Thankful that I already have this coffee. Thankful I did my makeup at home and not in the car.
Exactly.
I don't know if you
Otherwise,
have any...
I would be that accident that we just talked about.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any car makeup tutorials.
No, that's not what I'm going to do.
Yeah, right. Don't do that. Do your makeup before.
Exactly.
But, you know, you can shift to gratitude and then, okay, well, I could have felt like a 2, but now I'm feeling, it doesn't have to be a 10. It could be a 6. It could be an 8. But it's better than 2.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I think we can find gratitude no matter what is going on in our lives. I mean, even in your darkest days, you know, in mine especially, I mean, it's been a challenging couple of years. And, you know, with the loss of my mother, I will still look for ways and places to give thanks because there always are.
Yeah, there's always.
Right. There's always a way. And it immediately shifts you out of that negative, and it just brings light and joy and that energy, that positive energy back in your life.
Yeah.
Where beautiful things can happen again.
Right, exactly. And you know, being thankful for, I mean, who your mom shaped you to be.
Yes.
You know, she shaped you to be an amazing, amazing, inspirational woman who's a leader, right? And that's an amazing gift that she gave you.
Yeah.
And being thankful for that. And, you know, you can experience the sadness at the same time.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to take away from that, but having that underlying gratitude, just, I don't know. Do you think it makes you feel better?
Of course it does. Of course it makes me see my life better, right? Your energy goes to where your mindset goes. So I want to see my life as something great, wonderful, and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about your program that you have and how that works for people.
So I have a 90-day program because here's the thing about the mind. A lot of people, and Manifesting Mistake 101, right? I actually have a free course that I'd love to offer everybody, Manifesting 101. It goes over all the simple mistakes that we make when it comes to manifesting. We think, oh, well, first of all, I say, we think manifesting is, oh, I want this.
Yeah.
Right? I want $1 million, or I want a romantic partner, or I want this job interview, or whatever it is. And really, manifesting is not about what you want. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. Well, sounds like I better work on who I am.
Yep, that's true.
So, and it takes time. It takes a process, right? We have been trained and conditioned from the time we were very, very young to see things a certain way, right? My scope, my perspective, my personality. And it takes a long time for your brain to essentially be rewired. And so that's what my 90-day program begins to do is let's take a look at what you want. Let's, first of all, stop thinking about and focusing on what you don't want. Let's shed light on, do you even know what you want?
Right.
Can you even identify it? Or are you so under this realm of, oh my gosh, I'm just stuck in this cycle of thinking about what I don't want. So let's open you up to what you do want. And then let's see what beliefs are holding you back. And there's a lot of manifesting blocks that keep you from receiving your best life ever, to being able to step into that best life ever. So how can we bring your best life ever to you now and start to be that person?
Yes.
Because I'm going to get what I am.
Right. So you've got to change that belief system first. Again, back to the law of attraction.
Yes, it really does work.
I know. We did 2 testimonies right
Yes,
over
right,
here.
exactly.
I know. I mean, huge life changes
Yes.
for both of us. And I love that you point out, you know, no perfect background here.
No.
Neither of us. A lot of imperfection, a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, but a lot of joy, a lot of purpose, a lot of passion.
Yes.
And you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world because I think it all makes us who we are.
Yes.
And how we handle ourselves through those situations. So
Yes.
I love that you're offering that. So is there a link that you can
Yes,
provide?
I can give you a link, and we can anybody who wants to take, I have a free course that they can take, and
Right.
then I can send information on the 90-day program too.
Okay.
And it's really meant for busy professionals, right? Because we're all busy, and we all
Everybody's a professional. You know what? I mean, we all have things that we have going on in life. And I will say that, the wonderful women who are stay-at-home moms or
that is a job. That's 10 jobs.
It is work. Or the grandmas who are stepping in and filling that role as well. You know what? You're a working professional no matter what you do.
1,000%. No, I agree with that. But it's designed around that busy lifestyle.
Yes.
But there's little things that you can do daily that, personal development, when you put the work in, and it's these small, tiny little changes that just get you opened up to looking at things a little differently. Because I'll say this, and you will not unhear this, so be prepared.
Be ready.
Yes. You will always find what you look for.
Yes.
Always. You find a reason to be mad about something, you're going to find it. You want to find a reason that things are going to work out for you, you'll find it.
Right.
And, whenever I know I did not have this mindset that I have now when I was married. Yeah. And I surely looked for all the ways that it was not going to work, what made me unhappy. And that was my focal point. And that's why I stayed in that cycle for a really long time unhappy.
Yeah.
And really just shifting towards, if I could give you just one little, good place to start, it would be start thinking about what you want.
And start writing that down, look at it, meditate on it, and then take actionable steps to get there.
Right.
Yeah.
And going back to your, even writing it down or a vision board, or it's energy. It puts it out there into the physical universe.
Yes,
and
it does.
When you write it down, there's power in that. The words that you speak hold energy. So first, then that's a lot about that NLP, that it's all about the words that you speak and tell you what's going on in your mind. And if your mind is telling you what's going to happen in your life, then you can use your words to support the life that you want.
Yes. So choose your words carefully in how you speak to yourself and how you speak to others, because they hold immense power.
So much power.
Yes. And also, you have a podcast as well where people can find you.
Yes. And you have to come on my podcast too.
I can't wait.
I know. I feel like you could talk about so many things. Just
you and I could go on forever and ever. You just pick a subject and we'll go.
I know.
But yours is called Create Your Fate.
Create Your Fate. Yes. It is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all major streaming platforms.
Yes.
And I've recently dabbled into the wonderful world of YouTube. So
welcome to that.
Yes. I'm going to focus on what I want.
Look at you.
There's growth points for us all.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yes.
I'm so glad you're in this space, and I appreciate that. And before I let you go, we'll have links to everything that you mentioned. This podcast is called Over 50 and Flourishing. You're not near 50 yet, but you will be. But I do want to know how you plan on flourishing this week.
How I plan on flourishing. Well, first, I just want to interject and say, I really do love your podcast. And while I'm not 50 yet, it's been such a pleasure to walk this path with you and women who are in this wonderful midlife realm. Because where I would, how I was like, I was 20 and feeling so, old, and like I was so wise. I love, and I feel so honored to be a part of everything. I love seeing everyone just absolutely thrive. And it's just, I just love it. So thank you for including me in that.
Thank you.
But how I'm flourishing this week. So I have a life coach, and I am working on my own vulnerability. And I have a date this week. And he wants to go salsa dancing. And I said yes.
Yes.
So I'm flourishing in my invulnerability, or I guess vulnerability in this case, and terrible dance skills. So
I can teach you a few salsa moves.
Yes, please. I'm going to have to YouTube something real quick.
Thank God for YouTube, because there's everything out there. I'm very happy and excited for you.
Thank you.
Breaking out of your comfort zone and taking a little risk.
And that's flourishing, right?
It absolutely is. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for being with me, Meg.
Thank
you are
for
such
having
a
me.
love and such a joy. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You bet. It really is amazing when you think a certain way, how you start behaving and acting a certain way. And I really hope that Meg planted some seeds for you and some food for thought. If you've been looking to make some changes in your life and wondering where to start, it really seems like we all need to start with who we are and what we want out of life, and to put forward that type of energy. I really enjoyed listening to her. I hope you click the links. If you're interested in more information, again, it's all provided in the description portion if you're watching in YouTube. And again, wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple. So appreciate having you here. Remember, if you are enjoying the content, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share me with friends, family, and those that you love to be able to expand our community. Leave a comment in the YouTube section for any type of content that you're looking for here on Over 50 and Flourishing. I'll see you next week.